I believe in the power of the tongue. I believe the power of words, Kenny Stubblefield. And last time we had a show, we had Tammy Sawyer on, who was a tremendous guest. That full segment of Tammy Sawyer, we're still working on getting that full episode out of just her segment. But in that segment we had with Tammy, she kind of manifested some stuff, man. She was saying some really positive things about how she felt the NBA should deal with Ja Morant. And it really kind of shifted my whole thinking, man. And it caused me to start tweeting some of those things out, Kenny, to help her manifest how we think that Ja Morant should be dealt with. And lo and behold, Kenny Stubblefield, today, Thursday, the day we record, I look up and Adam Silver comes on, and he just says something that just, I'm like, man, I really felt like Tammy Sawyer, like, intervened for Ja Morant in some type of way. Kenny Stubblefield. It looks like things are looking a lot less gloomy for Ja, and dare I say, things are looking good for Ja Morant. A couple of days ago, Adam Silver, who spoke out before Game 1 of the finals, saying that he didn't want to talk about Ja Morant's decision, but since then, Kenny Stubblefield
all over the place
has been on a worldwide media tour talking about
Ja,
taking all request interviews talking about Ja. Now, I will, in his defense, he said that he didn't want to talk about the decision. He didn't want to give out the decision because he felt like that would, put a damper on the finals, which it would have, because even without the decision, it's been dominating the news. Everything outside of the finals have been dominating the news. In finals that have been good. The finals have been very good to watch. So that just shows you the magnitude of this whole, Ja Morant situation. But he met with, he was interviewed by Stephen A. Smith, and Stephen A. started the whole, do you think he needs to be taught a lesson type thing. That was the verbiage, which I'm completely tired of talking about. I'm completely over the teach him a lesson stuff. And I was so glad to hear Adam Silver echo that and say, no, this isn't a teach him a lesson type situation. We're talking about a person here. We're talking about a professional NBA player who we have an investment in, who's invested in this league, and we want to see do the best. And you just have to be careful about, using that type of energy, that type of terminology, and that we want to see Ja do well. We want to see him, and do better from this. Kind of paraphrasing and adding on to a lot of things Adam Silver said. And when I first saw that, it made me like, hey, okay, Adam Silver, I see what you're saying. I'm with you. I see it. And then this morning, Kenny Stubblefield, Adam Silver was on the Dan Patrick Show, and all it broke open then, man. It broke open for sure. Dan Patrick asked questions about a super long suspension and these type of things. And Adam Silver was like, no, I don't think that a super long suspension where you're talking about half a season or 30, 35 games, whatever, full season, those type of things. I don't think that'd be beneficial to him. He said, I don't see how giving him more free time, really helps the situation, or how punishing him in that sense, makes it better for him. Just good old logical thinking, man. Logical thought coming out of Adam Silver's mouth today. And he also said that his plan is to basically set up something that gives Ja benchmarks, that gives him things he can check off, things he can get done. Basically, and it feels like, Kenny, like a lot of stuff that Tammy was talking about, and a lot of things a lot of people are starting to talk about, could possibly come into pass. It seems like Adam Silver has a plan where he wants Ja to work himself back into the game, where he wants him to hit these certain benchmarks, whether it be through, he talked about elongated therapy sessions, where it's a constant process, of getting Ja where he needs to be. I've said things I've said like this, I'd like to see implemented, like whether it be community service or volunteering or programs put in place or these type of things. A lot of things that Tammy talked about too. It feels like that's the way that things are going, Kenny. It feels like you're about to see a much more positive situation. And people have said, well, why does Adam Silver keep talking? I think I said this last week, or I said it somewhere, that it seems to me like he's preparing people for a reality in this Ja Morant situation that doesn't look as doom and gloom as a lot of people have put out. A lot of people have been hollering, for Ja's head, half a season, a whole season, all these type of things. And I think he realizes that, and he realizes there will be a lot of kickback if he does this non-conventional method of punishment and rehabilitation, so to speak, for Ja. And I think that he knows that that's something that if he had just put that out there then, people would have, wouldn't have understood it. and they probably would have slammed him for it. But now he's kind of feeding it out to people slowly, breaking it up into small digestible pieces and giving y'all hints of what he's about to do. And I think that as we're gathering these clues, gathering this information from him, that we see this is something that's going to be a lot more favorable for the Memphis Grizzlies organization, for Ja Morant, hopefully, and for the NBA, where they are giving him, where it's up to him when he comes back. Once we start seeing the improvement. And I think something else you're going to see too, Kenny, is they're going to say, because he said this the first time, don't forget Ja's been on suspension ever since he did it. The Grizzlies suspended him the next morning. So he's technically been on suspension this whole time. And I think that they'll say, well, he's been doing this. We've been working, trying to get him to implement this, and this. And I think they'll try to say that he's been serving the suspension this entire offseason. He'll go into the season, continuing to try to strive for those benchmarks. And I think that we'll see Ja back in a much more timely manner than a lot of these people have been suggesting that he should get.
Well, and it's what I'm hearing is less about just punishment for the sake of punishment, but there are consequences for your actions,
right,
but there are growth opportunities as well. And that, how could we not want that for anybody?
Unless you're a monster.
Unless you were just a straight
jackass
dick that wants to just destroy people.
Right.
Like, if you're a Laker fan, I get it. You don't want Ja Morant to play. I understand that.
You might want to play for the Lakers.
You might want to play for the Lakers.
Which we've already talked about that too. These guys just want Ja,
right,
on their team with him.
But if you're a Lakers fan, I get you want to destroy Ja for the sake of your own team. I understand that. But as a human being, like in a human to human, which I think a lot of us, like, I don't know when all this has shifted, but it is a situation where sometimes we don't look at each other like we're human beings anymore. And that's what I've noticed about what Adam Silver is saying is Ja Morant is a basketball player, yes, but he's also a human being. He's also a father. He's a son. He's a brother. We want to see him grow. We want to see him develop. We want to see him be healthy. And that is, who doesn't want that for everybody?
Right. Yeah, and I totally agree, man. I think you're looking at a situation where Adam Silver realizes that Ja is not really the image he portrays. And we're not dealing with you're not dealing with somebody who's a threat to society. You know what I mean? You're talking about a guy who's just making bad decisions and he's doing things that are just making him look very bad. So I think that Adam Silver realizes this is something that's definitely salvageable, and you don't just want to just get rid of Ja. You want to help him get through this. And Adam Silver realizes that Ja is probably one of his most marketable players. Like I talked about the other day, nobody's lining up to go buy the Jason Tatums. They're out there. I can go on Nike right now and order though. I can go order Lucas as well. Paul George's shoes are extremely accessible. You know what I mean? These are all guys who have signature shoes. LeBron's, I can go in the store and buy those for the most part. Ja is an extremely marketable player, man. It's undeniable. And I really like what this isn't official. I'm not gonna make my victory lap yet.